Welcome back to Wishwell Farms, everybody. I'm hoping to plant some sweet corn today. I'm heading out to the field right now, drive around a little bit and check it out. We definitely still have some wet spots out here. Not looking very promising in this field. I mean, it's definitely solid, but you can see where the water was pooling up during these heavy rains. You know, we got a wet spot streak through the whole field right there, right here, another one over there. I mean, I could probably get the corn in, and I'm sure it would do just fine. When you plant over sticky areas like this, it starts building up on the depth wheels. And then you sometimes don't get the proper depth for your seed. And it don't take much for this early corn. You know, I stick it in maybe 1 inch. But yeah, right here where I'm walking, it is soft. This is like pure mud right here. So this section of field is definitely out. I'm gonna go over here and check this field by the greenhouse and across from the greenhouse. Along the ditch where the irrigation pipes are at, looks like there's about a ½ acre there. And then back here in the back half of the field, there's an acre, maybe acre and a half, that looks nice and dry. So yeah, I could probably just skip these muddy areas and make that planting number 2. It's gonna be kind of pieced in wherever I can find dry ground, but you know, today is April 15th, and this is when I like to get my first planting of corn in. If I knew there was gonna be no rain the next 3, 4, 5 days, I would wait and let it dry out a little bit more, but they're calling for rain in 2 days from now. Today's Monday, so I think Wednesday there's a 60 or 80% chance of rain. I can't risk not getting at least some corn in. My first planting is 5 acres, 4 to 5 acres, but even if I only get 1 or 2 in, that's better than none. And then if the rain misses us, I'll come back out and plant the other 2 or 3 acres that I need. All right, let's drive around a little bit more and look for some dry ground. Boy, these weeds are terrible. I forget what these purple weeds are called. Let me know in the comments. I mean, it's a common weed that grows around here. This doesn't look too bad. Man, there's still some piles of last year's sweet corn that we dumped. Yeah, pretty tacky right there. But I feel like there's enough dry ground here that I can go ahead and plant. Might be some sticky spots here and there that I'm gonna roll through, but I'm pretty confident the corn will go in just fine. So I got 2.5 acres here. Got 2.5 acre field here. And it's probably closer to 2 since the greenhouse takes up some of the space. And I'm pretty sure I can get 1.5 acres over there where I just was across the creek on the other side of those irrigation pipes. So 2, 3.5, and I know I got some more dry ground over there. Yep, let's do it. 4 to 5 acres of sweet corn going in the ground today. So I'm currently in some other fields of mine that are going to be going into sweet corn and green beans right over here across this little trail. I got a 22 acre field that's gonna be probably 2/3 sweet corn. I'm standing in a little 3 acre field that my brother has 1 acre taken up of garlic. But this is fairly dry. I could definitely plant here on this side of the garlic and on the other side of the garlic. So I definitely got 2 acres here I could use. The thing is, the raccoons really get into the early sweet corn. And if it's really bad, I want it to be close to home so I can put electric fence up around it and plug it in easily. I guess I could plug into the old dairy if I wanted to put it here. But yeah, I don't know. I used to plan this all out on paper in the wintertime, exactly where everything's gonna go. But from my experience over the years, I just kind of figure, I know I've done it so long, I just kind of know where everything is gonna go. The early sweet corn kind of always just goes where it's dry, and then the other fields always just get divided up between green beans and more sweet corn, so it's really not that hard. The field that I do have to plan out precisely is where my vegetables go. All my high value vegetables on raised beds, like peppers, zucchini, eggplant, cucumbers, cantaloupe, watermelon, tomatoes, beets, lettuce, onions, all that stuff. I need to know exactly where that's all going to go so I know how many rows of plastic to lay. It's a little different when you're planting sweet corn. It's a little more forgiving. All right, before I can plant sweet corn, I need to finish servicing my corn planter, which won't take very long when I grease it up. I also still got to look at my seed meters. I have not torn into those and checked the fingers and the brushes and all that good stuff and make sure they're turning freely. So I'm gonna get over to the shop, get that taken care of, and then I'm gonna show you guys the 2 varieties that I'm planting today, my 2 favorite early varieties of sweet corn, and some insecticide that I'm putting down today, which is only put on the early sweet corn, and I'll explain why here later. All right, I'm gonna get over to the shop and get this stuff all fixed up, put back together, and get out here in the field. All right, there's my seed corn boxes. I'm gonna take these meters off and look them over, and then get my planter greased, and then we will be planting corn. Still got some sweet corn in there from last year. I don't see any chunks of rust in here. I just want to make sure this spins freely. Just kind of eyeball everything, make sure it looks good. The brush looks decent. I mean, it probably could stand to use some new brushes, but I'm not going to swap those out. They look all right to me. So if I'm able to turn it by hand pretty easily, I'm pretty happy with that. So, not bad. And I always put a graphite lubricant in with my sweet corn to keep these things kind of lubed up. Because there is a seed coating on the seed, sweet corn seed, and it can build up in here and create friction and make this harder to turn. So this is what I'm currently using as my graphite source, lubricant source. It's seed plus graphite is what it's called. It's got some calcium, sulfur, cobalt, copper, iron, manganese, molybdenum, however you say that. I've always sucked at saying that word, and some zinc. So, a lot of little micronutrients in with this graphite. Don't know if it really helps or not, but, for as cheap as it is, it's worth trying. So yeah, it just looks like a graphite powder, basically. All right, I'd say this one's good to go. I didn't really have to do anything to it. Just wanted to visually inspect it. Put these 3 bolts back in, and then we'll tackle the other 3. Okay, that one's good to go. Unfortunately, this one is turning a little rougher. Let me show you what I mean. See how it's not, it's jerky. I don't know why it's doing that. Even if I turn it fast and hard. This is probably the one that was giving me some skips and doubles last year. I don't know why it's doing this. I hope it's something that can be remedied quick and easy. I mean, I'm putting corn in today no matter what, but at least got to check this out. So there's what the inside of that looks like. I mean, everything looks good there. Some buildup of junk. I'll clean that all up a little bit. I mean, it doesn't look that bad. I'll clean up all this. It's a little rough. Ah, see, the problem is in here, in the belt. So I'm going to take this cover off and see what's going on. It still does it. What is making that jerky? All right, we're kind of learning as we go here. I've only had one of these apart a couple times. It looks very rusty. Don't want to ruin it. I don't think I have any spares on hand. All right, now how's it turn? Oh, look at that. Nice and snug and turns completely free. Well, that is great news. It's not anything in this bearing here. I've already cleaned this all up with some emery cloth, so this side's nice and good and clean. And now we're going to do this side. There's a lot of rust. I'm going to clean up all this rust, and then I'm hopeful that this belt will spin freely. I hope I don't have to take this thing out. I shouldn't, because the belt only touches this outside. All right, I'm gonna work on this for a little bit and I'll come back and we'll see how she works. All right, all finished up here. She is baby smooth. All the way around the sides and on the bottom. Both sides. Let's get the belt back in and hopefully she spins smoothly. All right, I'll get her back together and we'll see what the outcome is. When you know it, I put the belt in backwards. Good grief. I even went and looked at one of the other units and I still put it in backwards. See how easy that is to mess up? Man. Get it back out and flip her around. Oh, now I see it. There is a diagram that shows the direction that the little rubber flaps are supposed to go. Open your eyes, Jason. Jeez. All right, I'll get this back together and I'll be back. Oh, so much easier to turn. It still feels like it's a little jerky. A lot better than it was. I think it's good enough. Let's get her back together. Yeah, that's a heck of a lot better. I always struggle with knowing how tight to make that. I don't want it too tight. That looks good. All right, we're just about ready to go here. And I'm double checking the seed depth. So each one of these holes represents a 1/4 inch. On this side I have 3, and on this side I have 2, so the depth is set at 1 1/4 inches. So later in the season, I will increase that to at least a 1/2 inch, and I'll adjust it depending on whether we're planting into conventional ground that's had some tillage, the soil's like fluffier and softer, or in the no-till. Sometimes when it's been dry out for quite a long time and I'm in no-till ground, I'll have to put that down to 1 3/4 of an inch just to get that seed down in the dirt where it should be. But these early plantings in conventional ground, I only want that seed about 1 inch. I want it to pop up quick. So setting this at 1 1/4 inches on conventional ground will sometimes even put it down about 1.5 inches. So it's easy to go too deep. Brother's got the 7120 hooked up to the old 750 drill. I'll probably be running out here in a couple weeks alongside our Kinsey. But it's nice to have this one out here running too.
I mess up your vlog?
Nope. Just about ready to plant corn. All right, this is my spreadsheet for the sweet corn. I'm planting 4.5 acres today. The earliest variety and my favorite early variety. These are both my favorite early varieties. These are the augmented super sweets, or SHQs, like the real tender super sweets, the best eating in my opinion. And these varieties will pop up out of cold soil in the 40s. It's amazing how vigorous they are. So we're planting 3 acres of Bolt and about 1.5 acres of Kickoff, so about 4.5 acres. And you can see the maturity, 66 and 69 days. You can get a little bit earlier, maybe 62 to 64 days by planting some standard or sugary enhanced varieties. But the eating quality is no comparison, none whatsoever. These are amazing, I'm telling you. And you can look, I used to put my previous year's dates that I planted. Started in 07 and I kind of ran out of room in 17. So for the last 7 years I haven't done it, but you kind of get the idea. April 10th, 16th, 19th, 5th, 14th. That 29th back in 2012, that was March. I planted corn March 29th once. April 6th, 21st, 15th, 16th. So you can see we're right in the ballpark of being in that proper time of April to get corn in the ground here on April 15th. So here is Bolt. I got a bag of 25M and 50M. And then I got 2 bags of 25,000 seeds each of Kickoff. And this is Aztec. It's like the replacement for Lore's Band 15G, which is not made and sold anymore. But you can see it's for controlling seed corn maggots, wireworms, cutworms, beetles, and white grubs. I've only had to worry about cutworms and grubs maybe once or twice in the 25 years I've been doing this. But you can't take the risk. So on my first 2 or 3 plantings, when the soil's cold, I always put this down with my seed in the insecticide boxes. But after I get 3 or 4 plantings in the ground, I let it run out and I don't use it anymore, and I've never had a problem. All right, we are just about ready to go here. $50,000 seeds of Bolt here. Divide it up into these, get it divided up between these 4 hoppers. Oh, I forgot I had another 25,000 in another bag. So 75,000 total. We'll save just a little bit in case I dumped it uneven between the 4 seed hoppers. We'll get Bolt in, and then we'll plant about 1 acre of Kickoff. I'll put a little bit of this graphite stuff in. It goes a long way, so I'll probably just divide like a half of one of these cups between the 4 hoppers. Looks like I put too much seed in that one. Stir it around a little bit. Get it good and mixed up. All right, the final thing we need to do is change the population. I think it's set at where I planted last July for our final planting. Oh, it's actually probably set on green beans, because I think I put the last green bean planting in around the 1st of August, maybe the last couple days of July. And sweet corn, we finished sweet corn around July 14th to July 17th. So yeah, I bet that's set on green beans. 22, 26, 22 driven. So I gotta move it all the way over here to the far left. I'll just pull these little rubber spacers out, and they'll all get put on the other side, and that'll slide the whole system of sprockets over. So 22, 26. 26 is the second one. So we got to get it moved over to this sprocket. I used to start off my season at 24,000, but I feel like I get plenty of corn at 22,000. So we're going to get that changed to 22,000, and then I'll probably move it down to 20,000 by planting number 3. Once we get nice warm soils in mid-May and there's no more risk of frost or cold 30-degree temperatures, I'll switch that to 20,000, and I might even go to 18 or 19 during June and July, because just about every kernel will pop up, and that is still an incredible yield if they all yielded 1 ear. There's always a little bit of loss. We're happy with 1,000 dozen an acre. Sometimes we don't irrigate our corn, so I have seen crops as low as 400 or 500 dozen an acre. I've had crops of 12 to 1,500 dozen an acre. It just depends on the rainfall and the growing conditions. But we shoot for about 750 to 1,000. Usually pretty happy with that. All right, I'm gonna get that changed. We gotta put some insecticide in these boxes, and then we're finally going out to the field. Just gotta throw some Aztec in here, and we will be ready to go. So you can see the line right there. This is all muddy, but that direction is all dry. So I'm going to plant this acre and a half back here first. All right, I like to plant just about 50 feet and then get off with my screwdriver and check the depth of the seed. Let's go see if we can find some. Right there. It wasn't very deep. That guy was about a ½ inch. There's another one. Close to an inch. All right, let's check this final row. I think I am gonna set it back to 1.5 inches. There he is. He's plenty deep. For some reason, this row is always planted slightly deeper, so I'll leave that one on 1.25 inches. I'm gonna put these 3 down to 1.5 inches. We'll go ahead and finish off this row, then we'll make the adjustment. Corn's going in pretty good. I wanted to show you how I plant my blocks for ease of spraying. So there is a 24-row block, and normally I drive the center of the tractor down the marker arm row, but you can see I'm 3 feet off to the right. That is going to leave a perfect drive row for the tractor and the wagon. I plant my sweet corn in 24-row blocks because my sprayer reaches 12 rows. So I can drive around the patch and reach all 24 rows. So things are going in good. I'm pretty happy. Not as dry as I would like, but it seems like I'm fighting that every other year anyway, and it always does fine. So we're gonna keep at it. I just thought of one more thing I probably should mention. My seed monitor doesn't work. Here's the seed monitor. It used to work fine. I finally kicked the bucket. I put new sensors in, new wiring, and I think it's just the actual box is bad. So this is year number 3 or 4 that I haven't had a seed monitor. So what I do is when I turn around, I glance at the ground and look for a seed that got dropped by the planter while I was lifting it up. And as long as I can see seeds on the ground when I'm turning around, I know it's working. Now, I gotta be careful because when I'm running low, or if I'm not only planting a small patch of a certain variety and the boxes don't have much corn in them, you know, I can run out. So this tells me there's corn in there, and if I don't see corn drop on the ground, I know that I'm either out or the finger pickup units stopped working in one of the boxes. Very, very rarely have I had any issues in the last 3 years. One time this pin right here, I just have cotter pins in there. They're supposed to be roll pins. Once I had one of them break, so one side, which is 2 hoppers, were not dropping seed. So I think I discovered it after 1 row. Quick fix, didn't have it again. So yeah, I just thought I should mention that. I need to get a new seed monitor. Alrighty, that is a wrap on the very first sweet corn planting of 2024. I ended up getting about 3.5 acres in. Still had an acre to go, but I ran out of starter fertilizer. So tomorrow I'll go pick up some more fertilizer and I'll be back out here to finish that final acre as long as the rain holds off. There is a chance of rain. Well guys, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you again real soon down on the farm.